This is the Phoenix mind, where the fire refines, break the chains and rise to shine. Rise on the lead with heart, every end a brand new start. With Lisa Manzo, we transform, we ignite. This is the Phoenix mind.
Hi, welcome to the Phoenix Mind Podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Manzo, and today my guest is Mark C. Manderson, and I'm going to read you his bio so I don't miss a thing. Mark has spent decades helping people break free from addiction and rebuild their lives. As founder of Pacific Shores Recovery, a trusted center for over 25 years, he combines science-backed strategies with compassionate care to create lasting change. Author of The Recovery Way and creator of the Pacific Shores app, Mark is on a mission to end the stigma around mental illness and addiction. His programs serve veterans, men, and women seeking freedom from destructive cycles, offering the structure and support needed to transform their lives. Accredited by the Joint Commission and recognized through books, podcasts, and innovations in mental health, Mark's legacy isn't about awards, it's about impact. Through Pacific Shores, he continues to inspire, educate, prove that healing is possible for everyone. Welcome, Mark. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Holy cow, that's a mouthful.
You sound great. So take a few minutes and let the audience get to know you. Who are you? How did you get into this recovery journey and helping people? I want to hear. I want to learn.
You got it. Well, we'll probably get a little bit of pushback off the top, but I was recruited by the creator. What I mean by that is I didn't go to school for this. I didn't want to do this. So to give you an idea what I mean is when I was 8 years old, my aunt had gotten kicked out of rehab, came and lived with us. It was my mom, my sister, who was 6 at the time, and me. And my mom had one rule: don't do drugs. And so my aunt and us being ignorant to the whole mental health and addiction issues going around, we believed her when she said, "Oh, that was my boyfriend. You know, I didn't know he was a dealer. We're not together anymore. I'm totally fine." And so I came home one day. This is how repressed the memory was. I can't remember if it was summer, winter. I don't know where I was coming from, but I have a vivid imagination of walking into a sea of pills on the ground. I'm 8 years old, so imagine me in little boy form walking across, just feeling pill by pill just crunching underneath my feet, and I go and try to wake her. I say, Aunt Steffi, wake up. And she's not responding. Her body's lifeless. So I go and I grab my mom, who was outside. She comes in, fortunately revived her. But my mom said, "Sis, I love you, but you can't stay here. You could have just harmed my kids unintentionally." And so went ahead and found her a place a few towns over, and then within a few months, same thing happened, but there was no 8-year-old boy there to help find her or save her. So we lost our aunt at a very young age, and my memory was she was the biggest kid and just so lovable and outspoken, and it was amazing. So as I'm going through school, what we're told is a drug addict or alcoholic. I had a complete different association. It was my fun-loving aunt, and I thought, well, this is kind of weird. It's not adding up. So I went into a ton of different things, but then when I say I got recruited, I remember I prayed one day, felt this burning sensation on my chest, on my solar plex, of going and basically being a part of sober living and just trying to help people reintegrate. I had no idea. I didn't go to school for this, like I said. So it was just trial and error of just me with that 8-year-old core memory of just wanting to help people so no other family would ever have to go through anything like that. And I've been known to be the guy who asks a ton of dumb questions, but unapologetically. And I've found most people have similar questions, but they just don't ask them. So as I kept asking these questions, I would find more and more answers, which led me down all these rabbit holes to find out more about psychology, addiction, the physiology behind it, as well as the mental part, the emotional part, the spiritual part. And I thought, wow, this is really multifaceted. It's not just a thing of, well, if they just stopped using, everything would be fine. And so that was where I started going back to school and learning and kind of reverse engineered from sober living of just wanting to help people integrate back into real life, as they say, and found that there was such a big disconnect from treatment back to reality. And so we just started helping people, which eventually became outpatient. And then we thought, well, we might be able to do something different and hopefully get really good results with inpatient. So we started doing that and started getting some wonderful testimonies and case studies, and then eventually did detox. So we do everything from detoxification services where we have doctors and nurses all the way to outpatient and sober living where they integrate back home and then virtual. So really it's just finding people where they are, jumping in the pit of pain with them and saying, I've been through this a couple thousand times. If you want some guidance, I'm here to help you, but we don't do the work for you. You got to do the work.
This is so interesting because so you're not on a recovery journey yourself.
Well, absolutely, I'm on a recovery
Okay.
journey myself. I never tried drugs because of my aunt.
Right.
Drank here and there, but what I found is I'm a stuffer. And I thought this was so disconnected from any form of addiction. Bad things would happen to me. I would just learn to stuff them. I had a lot of trauma, not just walking in on my aunt and being the one that found her, but I got really good at stuffing. And
Wait. I want to interrupt you only
yeah.
because for the audience, what does stuffing mean to you? Because I'm unsure.
So stuffing, there's exploders and imploders. Anytime something happens that kicks off that reptilian part of the brain, the fight or flight, we can either run or we can fight, or there's called freeze. And so I learned to be very effective, just stuff it down and then smile. And so when people say, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" "Oh yeah, I'm good. I'm totally fine." While inside, I'm just destroying myself. The internal narrative of, is it my fault? It was my room. Like just all these different things. And so you can only stuff something so much until you run out of space. So
And then it explodes.
yep. So the imploders become the exploders. And I don't know if anybody else has a different experience, but I have never exploded on a total random stranger. It's been the people that I love the most, that I care the most about, that I've done the most damage to in the past. So it's learning how to own this and learning how to feel everything and how to process them in a healthy way that doesn't lead to sedation or pulling away from people, places, and things. So hopefully that explains it.
Yeah. But now I forgot what the question I asked because I interrupted you. So I'm so
No,
sorry.
you were just asking if I was in the journey of recovery. And I said, yes, just not with drugs or alcohol. It's more so of learning not to sedate and to suppress, but to actually feel, emote, and have conversations about it and not do things that tank my marriage, my parenting, the different things that I used to run to.
That's so interesting because, so I'm in recovery myself. So I'm on 7.5 years, which
Congrats.
I gotta tell you, and when you were talking about recovery for people, it is multi-layered because I will tell you, I stopped drinking for a whole year and didn't do anything else.
Hmm.
Like it didn't work on the emotions, didn't work on the feelings, and thinking that when that my year hits, and I laugh about it now, that I'm going to feel absolutely fantastic. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be the greatest day in my life. I made it a year without alcohol.
Isn't it interesting? Most people think they have a drug or alcohol problem, but we found they're actually really good at that. It's what they've been masking underneath that we got to do the core work. So it's not that chase of sedation, or eventually, as a lot of our clients go on and build businesses and different things, it's no longer wanting to retire. It's building a life you love so deeply and emphatically that you don't ever want to sedate or retire from it.
And that's where I'm at now. So when that year hit and that anniversary came up and I woke up that day, I was angry. I was so mad. I was so angry. I'm sharing this because and I'm laughing about it now because I look back and I'm like, that was my day that I surrendered to the process,
Hmm.
right? Because there's a process that you have to go through in recovery. You take
Yeah.
people through the journey, right?
On the other side of the pain is the peace that most people spend their entire life looking for, and then that becomes their purpose. And that's what I love about these types of platforms is to actually walk through hell myself and then with others and going, hey, there's a pathway out, but it does take work. You do have to walk. Nobody's going to come to carry you.
Oh yeah, and you have to feel all your feelings. That's talk about that for a minute. Because you were stuffer, so talk about learning to feel your feelings.
Yeah, well, so I got so good at not feeling them that I just thought I could go through life until I graduated college. Our band who got signed, we got a record deal. We were cutting an album. I was going to be a rock star. Just everything imploded. Everything disappeared. And I found myself pretty depressed. And clinical term is clinically depressed. I'll say screwed. That's a technical term. And I walked out one day with the intent to take my life because I had no idea of there could be anything different than the amount of pain I was feeling. And nobody knew. Like I said, I was great at wearing that mask. And so fortunately, one of the stories, I don't know if we'll get there or not, but failure used to be a big thing for me. I did not want to be a failure. And the irony is I failed at one of the easiest things to do in life, which is take your own life. And because I was a failure at it, I survived and began to build up a complete different lifestyle and thought, I am so glad this version of me did not let that version of me take myself out of this beautiful, wonderful game we call life. And once I did, I started to learn how to feel. And one of the things, this is just in the last 5 years now, is I finally learned how to give all my emotions a seat at the table. And that includes depression, because it still comes and goes. It's not like I found the switch and turned it off. That actually led to the issues that I had for quite some time. This was back in early 2000s. And once I actually had a conversation with that depressed part of me, it said, I just want to be loved and seen just like everybody else. They painted this picture saying, I look into the window and I see happiness and joy and fulfillment and ecstasy and all these beautiful friends sitting at the table, and you won't even let me in the house. And I thought, oh, crap. I had mislabeled my depression as a negative emotion as opposed to wanting to make room for it and let it know that it's safe and I don't need to fix it. And the irony is once I stopped trying to fix it, he said, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm so glad. And he still visits a couple times a year. He comes in. Hey, do I still have a seat? I say, come on in. Give him a big hug. And we just sit with each other. And I know it sounds weird because I know back then I wouldn't have been able to hear that and actually make it tangible. But now it's this beautiful part where I get to feel all my emotions and not necessarily attach meaning of good or bad.
That's really interesting because you framed it perfectly for me, because I find that I do that. There'll be days when I don't have anything, right? And you could call that depression. There's days I have nothing and I just don't want to do anything, don't want to be anywhere. I just want to be home, sit on my couch and veg, and that's it. And you know what? And now when that happens, it doesn't happen often, but when it happens, I just allow it. It's like, because I'm being kind to myself. And I'm going to show you my shirt. It says, be kind.
Be kind. I love it.
Be kind. And that was the hardest thing for me. I had to learn to love myself. Did you find that you had to learn to love yourself? Because I had such self-hatred. Oh, look, I'm getting emotional. I had such self-hatred, and now I'm just really kind to all the parts of me. Did you find that along your journey?
Oh, absolutely. For the longest time, I wanted someone to come save me and found out nobody was put on this world to save me other than myself. So I learned through trial and error that nobody has to change for me to win this game of life other than me. And so once I started to look at that and then vocalize it and be totally open, that's one thing. I am such an open book. I started finding the narrative in a lot of people's minds is me too. I'd start sharing and they say, me too. I'm like, really? I thought I was so uniquely messed up. And they said, me too. And so as we started talking about it, we found out, man, this is just part of the human experience. Now, some people have it more intense than others, but once I started to learn this, I thought, well, I can't be alone. And then as I started getting into the mental health and addiction world, I thought, wow, this is one of the precursors to really either going deep in the darkness where it's really hard to get out of, or understanding and starting to go towards the light. And so just kind of looking at breaking down some different frameworks and formulas of what it takes to recognize it and to remove that judgment and to actually become an observer of what I feel as opposed to the owner of this is me and it must be true because I feel it and it feels true.
Yeah. I find that, like, so with my emotions, sometimes I have to be a step away, and it's like, look at them. Okay, what's going on here for me? What's going on here for me? Because my body's telling me that something's not right. So what do I need to process out of me? So was it easy to open that door and become this open book that you are now?
Oh, it was so easy. I found a switch and I flipped. No, hell no.
I know that, but I
This
wanted
is
you to
not
talk
an
about it.
easy journey. And I think that's why most people miss it, unfortunately, because this is a crappy analogy, but it came to my mind. It's like when I found out that I don't have to continue to have tooth pain. I used to be afraid of the dentist because that initial spike when you get that shot. But just like anything in life, once you address something, you diagnose it, and then you get help, there's that initial spike in pain that most people stay stuck. But as soon as it was, 3 to 5 seconds, the Novocaine hit, all of a sudden I don't feel pain. They went in, they cleaned everything out, and then I don't have any pain there anymore. And it's been years and years. It's the same journey emotionally. When I'm able to know, yes, there's going to be a temporary spike in pain, but once I address it, diagnose it, then I can start doing the work to clean any of these stories that I've held on to that may or may not be true, but they're creating a lot of darkness. That's what we want to start challenging them. And then once we start challenging it, once we learn the rhythm of success and fulfillment, now the whole goal is how do I stay consistent to that daily routine to completely stay in this beautiful place of beauty and joy and fulfillment, even in the dark times, learning how to go, I can actually experience joy with my depression. Took a while to figure out, but it's like, yeah, whoa, okay, now we're getting crazy.
Now we're getting crazy. I love it. I love it. Yes, I had to learn also how to feel because you said you I had to learn how to love me, right? And all of me. And you seem to have mastered that. What's one of the tricks or tips that was able to help you along the way on your journey to learn to love all the parts of you?
Well, I don't know if we ever truly master it. I remember my grandma passed a while ago. She was 96 and she lived right down the street. And once a month, we'd go over, I'd leave work and have lunch with her. And she was one of the wisest human beings I'd ever met. She was a prayer warrior, had the most infectious laugh. But I remember it was a few months before she passed. And she just seemed so happy all the time. Like, Grandma, when did you finally figure out life? Like I've known you my whole life. You've always been so full of joy. And this was before I learned about all our familial trauma. But I thought, when did you finally figure it out? And she just laughed, as grandmas do, just laughed and giggled and leaned back. And she goes, oh, sweetie, I'm still learning things daily. And that was an aha moment for me that we never truly master anything. And when we recognize that, there's no finish line. It's how do I enjoy this journey? So to directly answer your question, how do I continually evolve and expand? The me of today invests daily into the me of tomorrow. As long as I know I continue to do the work for the future version of me, the future version of me can look back and say, thank you for doing the work. Because for a lot of my life before I learned this stuff, the me of now is saying, screw you, future version. I don't even want you. You're not worthy. I'm not worthy. And it created more pain.
Oh, yeah, it does. And I'm just like so grateful to be on this journey of learning to because it's continual, like you said, to continually open new doors and that's what this podcast is all about is your story is going to resonate with the exact person who needs to hear it at that moment and it's going to ripple out to other people. And I know that the people in my life like and there are certain people I can do this with and certain people I can't. And because they don't want to accept it. Because I don't like people talking bad or negatively about themselves in front of me. Because, we make mistakes, right? We're not bad. We're not dumb. We're not stupid, right? And I'll hear somebody say that. I said, that's really not true. You call them out right on it, right in that moment. Maybe you made an error and you have to reframe and learn to do something differently, not next time, but you're not any of those things. And I have a hard time, like, if I know you and I like you, if you say something like that in front of me, because I eat and breathe language and how you talk to yourself, I just rephrase it for them. If, I ask them to rephrase it, and if they're not able to, oh, let me help you. Do you do stuff like that for people?
Yeah, well, it's part of what we do here at our center. So anytime. So we also teach healthy conflict resolution because a lot of our clients, including myself, come from all different backgrounds. And a lot of the times we have ingrained this pattern of if I am louder or more violent, then I am heard. And it's not a way to create a loving life. So anytime someone starts talking about themselves or someone else from a real negative standpoint, I'll jump in right away and say, I'm actually fluent in asshole. I think what I heard you say is, and then I go ahead and change it. So when a person says, screw you, you make me feel, I can't believe, I flip and say, I think what I heard you say is, I'm really hurting right now because what I heard you say was X, Y, Z, and I'm sad because either I'm not feeling connected if I think whatever that is, and just by changing the language, we've even had like guys from gangs come here, and when I switch it that way, like, whoa, well, yeah, bro, it's just respect. I'm like, yeah, I get it. Now let me ask you, when's the last time you respected yourself? And that's the part where even the toughest guys go, all right, because all we see is the mirror. If I'm not able to give myself something and they come at me, they're just holding up a mirror of a part that I haven't reconciled with yet. That's why some people can call me certain names. I'm like, oh, all right, whatever, because I reconcile the other things. Those are fighting words, and I still get reactionary. And I'm like, thank you. They just exposed something in me that I may need to revisit.
It's an opportunity. It's an
Yeah.
opportunity to grow as a person when an emotion is triggered. That's what I think.
Yeah, isn't it interesting? Because we tend to justify our own hurtful behavior while we condemn those of theirs. Isn't that
Yeah,
interesting?
it is. It's interesting. So I'm still working as a nurse currently, and a lot of the patients are drug addicts and recovering alcoholics because they weren't taking care of their bodies. So now they don't
Mm.
have a choice. They have to take care of their bodies, otherwise they're not gonna live. And I have a way with them. It's so interesting. Like I have a natural way with them because one, they know I'm never gonna lie to them. Okay. Even if they don't want to hear it, I may not tell them immediately, but I'll tell them after they've calmed down the exact answer because I'm not going to walk into the fire when they're already upset and aggravated and aggravate them further. I will always tell them the truth. And I have patients stop me in the hallways to ask me because, they talk to each other, right?
Hmm.
They talk to each other and they're like, oh, if you want to know the answer, go ask Lisa. She'll tell you. And it's good because you need to hear it through kindness because that's the whole point of I want you to change, but you have to accept the help that I'm trying to give you. Do you have
Yeah.
trouble getting people to accept help?
Ask that again. You cut out.
Do you have difficulties getting people to accept help?
Oh, sure, sure. And it's interesting because I like learning things, and then when they show up, like just kind of randomly, I commit it to memory. And this is what I struggled with for a while. I'm like, I have the gold, take the gold, and some people just don't take it. And what solidified this for me, and actually presented itself where I could teach my daughter. So this is years ago when she was young. We were trick or treating, and we put out all the candy in our neighborhood while we were going out. And of course, just take one. And we anticipated a few kids would show up and probably take it all. But what happened is we went around the block, we came back, and my daughter was so excited to see it empty, knowing that we got to give candy. And not a single person, I don't know if they didn't stop by, but nobody took the candy. And my daughter was just destroyed. She's like, I don't get it, Dad. We put the candy out. Why didn't anybody take it? Do they not like our house? Do they not like the candy? And I said, sweetie, just because you put out a gift doesn't mean a person's going to take it or accept it. And it was such a beautiful, I think it was more of a learning moment for me than my little daughter. But I'm like, that's right. How many times have I offered a gift or making it about me? Someone offered me a gift and I wasn't at a place to receive it. It had nothing to do with that person. Had nothing to
Right.
do with them. It was with me as the individual. And so as we understand that, that's how we can start doing the work. A lot of people like Carl Jung and different people talk about the ego. And even if we can just, I don't know, have temporary dissolution of the ego, that's what leads to this connectedness that we're all really looking for and the peace and the oneness. And when we start to experience that, we understand, man, there's such a different feeling and place of life when I submit to the process, but it takes work to do.
So I find people in recovery have trouble receiving. How do you help people learn to receive what you're trying to give them?
Well, so fortunately, we've been doing this for 25 years, so we have a lot. I'm talking thousands of case studies and people that will stop by to say, "Look, I was where you were, so look at me where I am now, and if I can do this, anyone can." So fortunately, there's enough social proof. But in the beginning, it was tough because there was no social proof. So it was kind of like, well, I consider myself client zero, meaning I started applying all these things from the different therapeutic modalities and different aspects to saying, I'm miserable. I'm looking for anything outside of myself to not make me feel this way. So you can numb and sedate any way you want. I don't mean to discount certain drugs, but it's like a drug is a drug is a drug. If I don't know how to experience who I am in the wholeness and the authenticity of feeling and experiencing everything, I'm going to continue to sedate. So usually it's enough pain felt allows a person to finally submit or surrender to say, look, I've been doing it the way I thought I was supposed to. I'm still in this pit of pain. I'm willing to take some direction. And once they start getting a few wins under their belt and feeling different, that's where in the beginning they would say, oh my gosh, there really is a different way. And then now it's just, I mean, 25 years of case studies. It's been a beautiful thing now because the science works. And that's actually why I ended up writing this book. The Recovery Way is after working with so many people and asking the question, why did you make it and why didn't you? You came in at the same time, same therapist, same case manager, one's flourishing, the other's struggling. And that's where I started to find the patterns. And I documented the patterns and said, oh my gosh, there's a formula here. How cool is this? We can reproduce this for those that do the work according to the formula.
I'm intrigued. I'm going to have to buy your book now because I'm intrigued as to what that there's actually a pattern. I figured there was. It hasn't come clear in my mind what the pattern is, and I'm sure that it'll be all spelled out in your book when I read it. I'm going to look forward to that one.
Yeah, well, and I'll do even one better for you and your viewers. So I had so many people ask, like, what is this formula? What is the work? So I put together a Google document. It's totally free. The best way to get it from me is I'm on Instagram. So if you just go to at Pacific Shores Recovery, that's our Instagram. Follow us and just DM habits. I will send you the link to all the information, got some videos on there, and then there's a link to the book as well. Because I definitely suggest buy the book. Just because you watch a few videos with the book, like I still reread it, and even though I pulled this from learning from other people, I still forget this stuff. So I go back every year. I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm not doing this as well as I can, and I can do this a little bit better. And it's this, like I said, it's a never-ending journey, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and it's also when you revisit something, I'm a different person when I'm coming back to something than I was the first time. That's why I go reread some of the books that I've read because I'm a different person now and I'll receive the information a different way. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I need to start doing more of that, which is such a beautiful thing because recovery and just working on yourself it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's the only disease I can think of that once you're diagnosed, your life actually becomes better. Like everything else I think of, cancer, different things, like you're just fighting to get back to where you were before. Or with addiction, it's like I actually get to become a better person now that I know what this is and I can do the work.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of doing the work, even if it's painful, and even when it's painful. About a year ago, I had I was working with somebody on a project, and my son had once told me, he said, once is an accident, twice is a pattern. Okay, so and he's not in recovery or anything, but he said that to me, and that rings in my head. So we had a disagreement, and the person was really, really mean, really mean. And I let it go. And I explained to them, you cannot speak to me that way. It'll be a one-time thing. And if it happens again, we'll be done. And it happened again. And we're done. And you know what? And that's okay. But here was the lesson for, I'm sure there was tons of lessons, but one of the lessons that I saw for me was that I stood up for myself, which was something in the past I had trouble doing, standing up for myself and what I wanted. And here I stood my ground and said, no, you're not going to speak to me that way. I deserve better.
Yeah. Yeah, once we are clear on what we want and how we want to be treated, we can start to direct others to treat us the way we want, but it starts with us treating ourselves that way first.
Yeah, that was it. That was an interesting lesson for me because um it was not I didn't learn that as a child. I
Yeah.
didn't learn that as a child that we treat people the way to treat us. And
Hmm.
now I've let some people go because I want to be treated better. And they weren't able to make the transition with me. And you know what? They may come back and they may not.
Yeah, yeah, I've found hurt people hurt people. And so it's one of the trainings we do here with our staff because as you can imagine, when a person's coming in and coming down off their drug of choice, they're not the most polite at times or sympathetic. And our team is wonderfully empathetic and there for them. But one of the trainings we do is to understand that when a person is screaming, yelling, calling names, it has nothing to do with me. I'm a mirror holding up what they see about themselves. And so it's different in a professional setting, but to sit down and to say, ouch, that really hurt. It sounds like you're in a lot of pain. And more times than not, just that phrase, the person goes, I'm sorry, it's not you, it's me. I know it's never me. Just like when a person triggers me, it's never them, it's me. When we
Oh, yeah.
understand this, then we can actually give the person the space to help process. And that's how we take our clients through this journey of how to love themselves and to be respectful and do esteemable things.
Mm, it's so true. So, Mark, I have got two more questions for you. So I know you already said it, but tell them again how they can get in touch with you when they want to learn more from you.
So yeah, best way is you can go to Instagram, go ahead and follow us at Pacific Shores Recovery, and then just shoot me a direct message. Fortunately, we're still the best kept little secret, so it's me on there. But just DM habits, and then I will send you that document with all the other things on there. But if you like websites, our website is pacificshoresrecovery.com.
Awesome. And then just leave my audience with a bit of advice that you'd like to give to them today.
Once we start doing the work, we learn that we can design the life that we want to play forever. That's probably one of the most profound things that when I learned, I thought, how do I set life up that I want to play forever? And then life becomes enjoyable and I make better decisions. And then it's just it's like this compounding effect because for so long, I was on the opposite side of why am I such a failure? Why does life suck so much? And then that compounded on the negative. So whatever's compounding on the negative, once we start flipping some of the questions, we can compound it on the positive, and then life just gets so good. Like what a fun, messed up world we live in, and it's beautiful, all of it.
All at the same time. Well, Mark, thank you again for being my guest. And I'm
You-
Lisa Manzo. This has been another episode of the Phoenix Mind Podcast, and I'll see you on the next episode.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Bye.
This is the Phoenix Mind, where the fire refines. Together we rise, transform our lives.